So in Black Ops Cold War there are many different operators you can unlock via challenge. Sergeant Frank Woods is one of them, and if you want to unlock him in the game you need to get a Bloodthirsty medal, which is just a 5 kill streak 15 times in multiplayer. So in this video I'm going to give you guys the best maps and game modes to get this done, the best class setup for this, and then the best tips for getting this challenge done really fast so you can unlock Frank Woods really easily in Black Ops Cold War. If you want to check out guides for unlocking the other operators, I'll have a card for this on screen when those videos are available. And if you need help with any camo guides or leveling up weapons faster or anything like that, I'll have links for those videos and playlists in the description and cards on screen for them if you're interested in that. I'm going to have timestamps in the description for different parts of the video, although I'd recommend sticking around until the end so that you get the most out of this guide and don't miss out on any important tips. Without further ado, let's get into how to unlock Frank Woods really fast as an operator in Black Ops Cold War. So in terms of what modes to go for, personally I would recommend something like Free For All, which can be quite good as there's lots of enemies and it's easy to pick them off one by one. You could also play objective modes like Domination, Kill Confirmed, Hardpoint, as these kinds of game modes can help you get more kills if you hold down an objective. So for example, if you stay around a domination point and wait for enemies to come towards it, you can obviously kill them when they're going towards it. Same for Hardpoint. And then for Kill Confirmed, people often like to go after tags, so if you leave a Kill Confirmed tag in the open, wait for an enemy to come past, try and get it, and then kill them. Strategies like that can be helpful for getting this done faster. What about the maps then? Well, for the maps currently, out of the 8 maps at launch, the best for going on streaks in my opinion are Armada, Cartel, Crossroads, Garrison, and Miami can be okay depending on the game mode and the game, and Satellite can be good as well. Also, don't forget that once Nuketown is out, this can be a great map for getting the challenge done as well for going on streaks. So that's the maps and modes. What about the class setup then? Well, what I've done first of all is I've used Gunfighter Wildcard to bring the total number of attachments I can use from 5 up to 8. This allows me to obviously put more on my weapon, which means it's a more powerful weapon in the game and I can potentially get more kills and go on streaks. You can use whatever weapon you want, obviously it doesn't matter, but for the purposes of this video I've just gone for the MP5 SMG. Now I know it's been nerfed recently but it's still pretty good, but you can go for whatever weapon you're most comfortable with. So if you were doing something like the MP5, you could put on an optic like the Microflex LED, it's a nice clear sight. You could put on the agency suppressor for the muzzle, and this allows you to conceal the muzzle flash so you don't see it, but also your shots are silenced so people can't hear you as easily, and then also you get less vertical recoil with the gun. For the barrel, I'd put on the 9.5 inch Task Force, and what this does is it gives you increased damage, effective damage range, and also bullet velocity as well, which is good. I've put on a steady aim laser for the body as well, and what this does is it increases your hipfire accuracy so that if you're caught off guard and you're not able to quite aim down sight, sometimes I instinctively just hipfire, and that can be useful as well, especially if you're on a streak. On the underbarrel, I've put the Field Agent Grip, and what this does is it gives you less vertical and horizontal recoil, so it's more accurate. And then I've put an SAS mag clamp on the magazine, and what this does is it gives you more starting ammo and a quicker reload speed, so you're likely to have more ammo and less likely to get caught out, and also when you're reloading you're less likely to die in the middle of a gunfight. After this, I've put the Airborne Elastic Wrap handle on the gun, and this allows you to have a faster aim down sight speed and less flinch when you're being shot at. And then finally I've put on the Raider stock, and what this does is it gives you increased sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed. Don't forget you're going to be running around a lot with this weapon, so to go from sprinting to aiming down sight, it's faster with this attachment. So that's the attachments. Now let's move on to the other parts of the setup. So first of all, the equipment. I've put on a stim shot for the tactical. This allows you to heal yourself when you're injured. And then for the lethal, I've put on C4. Now obviously don't forget you can use the C4 to help you get kills to go on the streak. It doesn't have to be with your guns. You can get there however you want. So C4 can be useful if you think it can help you get a kill to stay alive, then definitely feel free to use it. And then for the field upgrade, I've put on the field mic so you can see enemy sounds on the minimap inside the field mic radius, so it can be useful for seeing enemies on the minimap, knowing where they are, and then obviously killing them. What about the perks then? Well, I've put on Flak Jacket in the first perk. This allows you to take less damage from enemy explosives and Molotov or crossbow flames, so you're less likely to die from annoying stuff like flames and explosions. In the second perk, I put on Scavenger, and this allows you to pick up ammo from dead players. Obviously we're going to be needing ammo if we go on a streak, and so if you kill people, you run over their bodies and you pick up an ammo pack so that you're less likely to run out of ammo. So that can be very useful as well, especially because we've got an SMG, we're up close and personal with the enemies. Finally, I've put on Ninja for the third perk, and this allows you to sprint more quietly. You're resistant to field mic and your character only speaks when necessary, so they're much more silent and you're less likely to be heard by the enemy, so they're less likely to be able to track you down and kill you. If people don't want this, they can also go for other stuff like Ghost. Personally, I don't like how loud my footsteps are in the game, so putting Ninja on obviously counteracts that. What about the score streaks then? Well, I've put on the spy plane, the counter spy plane, and the armor, just because the spy plane obviously is a UAV, it allows you to see enemies on the map. The counter spy plane obviously scrambles an enemy's minimap, so they can't see where enemies are and stuff like that. and finally put on armor so that you can take more damage and you're less likely to die. You can obviously put lethal streaks on for this, but some of them are higher anyway, so you're more likely to be going on a streak if you earn them, so they're not necessary, whereas these ones are helpful in terms of getting you to stay alive longer and giving you intel to find the enemies and kill them. So these are useful for going on streaks, but you can put on whatever you want. Obviously feel free to mix and match, you know, the attachments, perks, all of that stuff. Feel free to adjust the setup to your playstyle or your weapon. Obviously not every weapon is going to have the exact same attachments, so just try and apply as best as you can the types of attachments and the benefits you're getting from them to your own weapon and your own setup. Right, so that's been the maps, modes and the class setup. Now let's move on to the best tips for actually getting these bloodthirsties, these streaks, so that you can unlock Frank Woods easily. So first of all, it's important not to rush about, because when you're rushing about, enemies are more likely to kill you, you're more likely to make more noise, attract attention, and you're less likely able to respond to enemies and react to them if you're running about the place, okay? So it's important to slow down a little bit, have a slower playstyle, similar to Modern Warfare. You also want to make sure that when you're going around the corners that you pre-aim if possible. This means that you're saving yourself time so that if an enemy's there, you don't have to then aim down sight, because then that will take away from the time that you have to kill them, and then they're more likely to kill you. So if you pre-aim going around corners, all you have to do is move your sight exactly to where the enemy is and then shoot them, and it saves time and you're more likely to survive. And obviously don't forget that we've put on attachments like the Raider stock, which increases the aim walking movement speed, meaning that when we're actually aim down sight and walking, it's faster than without it. And obviously it's an SMG as well, so it's quite a lightweight gun, and so you still walk quite quickly while aim down sight. The third tip I've got for you guys is to make sure to reload when it's sensible. You'll probably see a few times in the gameplay that I didn't do that necessarily. I try and do it where possible, but I don't always do it, so definitely try and reload when sensible, because if an enemy catches you while you're reloading, there's a high chance you're a goner, and then also you don't want to run out of ammo when there's a perfect kill in sight, and by the time you reload they've gone or someone else has killed them. It's just annoying. So reload when you can, when it's a sensible time to do so, when there's not really enemies about, it's a bit more quiet. Definitely try and reload, take cover if you need to, and do that, and then get back into the gunfight. Also, don't forget that if you're in the middle of reloading and an enemy does catch you off guard, you can double tap the triangle button on PlayStation, I think it's the Y button on Xbox, to reload cancel, meaning that instead of swapping to your new magazine, you stick with your current magazine, and so you can still fire if there's bullets in it. So don't forget, that's a very important tactic. It saves me a lot of the time if I'm reloading and then an enemy comes along. You also want to pay attention to the minimap, the field mic and the UAV, as well as noises such as footsteps and enemy callouts and stuff like that. This is because it's very valuable information, gives you a lot of data in the world around you in terms of where enemies are, what they're doing, who's dying, who's living. You really need to pay attention to all of that to make sure that if there's enemies near you, you take them down, or you're aware of where they are to avoid them if you need to. Obviously, most of the time you want to be a little bit aggressive to try and get the kill if you can, but this brings me perfectly into the next point, which is don't engage gunfights you're unlikely to win. Let's say there's been an enemy and they've wiped out a lot of your teammates. It is unlikely you're going to be able to take them down unless you're really good. There's obviously a reason why they've been winning against your teammates, for example. So if you see scenarios like that, it's probably less wise to engage in gunfights and go for other kills instead. Similarly, if you've got a little SMG and there's a sniper or like a good assault rifle or something shooting at you halfway across the map, if you poke your head out and show them where you are, they're more likely to win because they've got a better damage range on the weapon, they've already been looking in your direction and stuff like that, whereas if you pop your head out, it just makes it more difficult. So if you get into situations which you think you're going to lose, I know it can be tempting to try and beat them against the odds, but it's probably better and safer to go for other kills and avoid them if possible. Also, don't focus on the challenge too much and try to stay relaxed about it. Bloodthirsties can be difficult for people. Every year I get tons of comments saying how frustrating it is, they just want to, rip their hair out because it's so annoying. But at the end of the day, it's only 5 kills. This can be difficult for some people, but for the vast majority of people, it will be possible even if you can't get it immediately. So don't focus on the challenge too much, and often I find when I get stressed, I'm much less likely to do the challenge, whereas if I relax a little bit, calm down, don't think about it as much, the challenge comes much easier, which I know sounds a bit counterintuitive and a bit silly, but definitely it can help. And also similarly, this is one of those challenges that because it can be difficult at times, you might want to try and find an easier challenge. So stop going for this one, go for an easier one. Like for example, if you need to get, I don't know, headshots or something that you can focus on, or whatever it is, try and go for those instead for a bit and then come back to it a bit later, and you may have naturally either earned the challenge completely or gotten progress towards it. So that can often be useful because the challenge is always there tracking. So if you ever get a Bloodthirsty, it will count towards it. So you don't have to get it right away. And I know while they can be difficult, like I say, you can probably get some over time. And if you're really struggling, definitely let that challenge be for now, sit on the side, and eventually you will get some Bloodthirsty towards it, and that will count. So don't stress yourself out about it too much. And also, if you're really struggling, it might be worth trying to play in a private match with bots, just to get a bit of a feel with the weapon, improve your game, and stuff like that. So if you do all that, you should get Sergeant Frank Woods fairly easily, like I was able to. But like I say, if you need help unlocking any other operators, I'll have videos for those soon. And like I say, when I do, I'll have a card for that on screen and a link in the description. So make sure to check that out if you're interested. Like I say, also feel free to check out my camo guides. I've got a playlist for that with all the types of camo guides and medals and stuff like that. So if you need help with anything, go and check it out. I guarantee it will be useful. For example, how to get long shots, headshots, the best long shot spots on every map and stuff like that. If you found this video useful, be sure to leave a like on it. It really helps me out, and feel free to subscribe if you found it useful or enjoyed it and would like to see more of this content. If you click the bell icon, you'll stay up to date with all my latest videos, so you don't miss out on any of those to do with Black Ops Cold War or Warzone. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you found it useful, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one.